Hello everyone, and welcome back to something different, which can only be done by someone like me, who is like no other kind of guy. This is different. You guys already saw the Chaos Dragon deck profile, which I'm gonna do something about my fan because it keeps blowing wind into the microphone, and I hate that it does that, but oh well. Anyway, I spent the majority of last night making this because why not? I was uploading, I didn't have anything to do, and I wasn't tired. Well, not last night, the night before. But, decided to make this. I may as well share it with you guys, because you guys, based on fan, favoritism thing, what's demographic, I guess, I don't know, you guys enjoyed Kingdom Hearts, and I'm sure a lot of you subscribe to me because I'm a fan of Kingdom Hearts. So I may as well show you this. This is actually a deck made on Yu-Gi-Oh! Cardmaker.com, I think it is. It's cardmaker.com. Yu-Gi-Oh! Cardmaker.net. Excuse me. And it's a Kingdom Hearts deck. Yeah. Why? Because I'm a nerd, and that's why. And if you don't realize that yet, then how are you subscribed to me and not realize that already? Anyway, the deck itself is 41 cards. I'll explain each effect as it goes. So this could be fairly long. The idea of the deck is that you get out the main cards of the deck. You get out the main cards of the deck first, basically main cards being Sora and Riku and basically the Keyblade wielders, and they help you swarm the field. Once you've swarmed, you start contact fusion for the drive forms, and that's basically the main power deck, is the drive forms. The deck does have three big, destructive monsters that aren't drive formed, but they're a tiny bit more difficult to get out, depending on the situation. So, let's just do this. The first card is running in this deck. Oh, I'm also going to say this. I'm going to make my friends duel this, and basically the idea behind the duel is that you take the Kingdom Hearts challenge, or the KH deck challenge, and if you lose, then your heart gets taken by the Heartless. Yeah. Anyway. Very similar to the Orichalcos challenge. I think it's Orichalcos, that's how they said in the anime. The Orichalcos challenge, which is being made into an actual card. The seal of Orichalcos is being made into a real card. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead with this. Spend 4 minutes. Anyway, the deck is 41 cards, as I said. First card is 3 Sora. Sora is a level 4 light warrior tuner monster with 1800 attack and 1900 defense. A reason before the defense is because the Kingdom Key's ability is Defender, which increases your defense when I believe when you're low on health. So I made his defense higher than his attack. And his effect is when he's summoned, whether it's special summoned, normal summoned, flip summoned, whatever, you can special summon a Goofy or Donald from your hand, deck, or graveyard. When he destroys a monster by battle, place a heart counter on a card that can hold it. That's kind of limited because I think there's only 2 cards that can hold heart counters in this entire deck. So yeah. When he's destroyed, you can special summon a King Mickey from your deck. And we'll get to King Mickey eventually, but for now, let's go to Goofy. And Goofy is a level 4 Earth monster, Beast Warrior type, with 300 attack, 2000 defense. Once per turn, you can negate this card's destruction by removing a heart counter from your side of the field. If this is the only face-up card on your side of the field, this card is destroyed during the end phase. Basically notifying the fact that Goofy and Donald can't really stand up to the Heartless on their own, though apparently when Sora fought Roxas in Kingdom Hearts 2, which isn't really spoilers, you kind of see that coming eventually, but they fended off a lot of nobodies. Not sure how that worked because they're not powerful, but whatever. But that's basically the idea. You have to have another card face up on the field for him to stay on. And then after him is Donald. Donald is a level 4 water attribute monster with spellcaster type. Attack 500, defense 200, not strong at all, not meant to battle, but his effect is once per turn you can remove a heart counter from either side of the field to destroy the card it was attached to. Then, if that succeeds, add 1 spell card from your deck to your hand. This is a little broken. The thing is, though, with heart counters, is that heart counters can attach to anything on your opponent's side of the field, because obviously your opponent is not going to have cards that have the ability to hold heart counter. So basically, Sora can attack a monster, destroy it, and place a heart counter on your opponent's side of the field. I believe it's on the opponent's side of the field. I don't think he's limited to your side of the field. Yeah, on a card that can hold it, and that's basically every card on your opponent's side of the field. And then during main phase 2, you can use Donald's effect to destroy a card and then add a spell card to your hand. Usually you get the field spell, but we'll get to that. 3 of him, 3 of Sora, 3 of Goofy, and 3 of Donald. And the next card is Riku. Riku is a dark attribute level 4 warrior type monster with 1900 attack and 1500 defense. When this card's attribute is also treated as light while it is face up on the field, symbolizing his road or way to dawn, stuck between light and darkness thing. When this card is normal summoned, add 1 Sora from your deck to your hand. If you cannot resolve this effect, this monster is immediately destroyed. Basically, once he's normal summoned, not any other way, just has to be normal summoned, you add a Sora from your deck to your hand. If you can't do this, if you have no more Soras in your deck, then he's destroyed, which kind of limits him, but I didn't want to make the deck super powerful and broken. So yeah. And you run 3 of him. And the next card is 2 copies of Roxas. Roxas is a light attribute, level 7 warrior type monster with 2500 attack and 2000 defense. That is basically to kind of copy the Dark Magician. 2500 attack, 2000 defense, level 7. The only difference is that Roxas is light attribute, not dark. And he's a warrior. While this card is on the field, I meant to put face up, but on the field works because its effect can only be red while it's face up anyway. Its name is treated as Sora. You can special summon this card from your hand when there is a Sora in your graveyard. This card can attack twice during the battle phase because of Oathkeeper and Oblivion. When this card destroys a monster in battle, place 1 heart counter on a card that can hold it. This card can serve as the remaining synchro material for the synchro summon of Sora Final, and we'll get to that. Basically, you can completely override the fact that it has 7 stars instead of the normal amount for synchro material. Its effect allows it to substitute for the rest of it. And there's 2 copies of him. And the next card is King Mickey with 2 copies of him. He's a level 5 dark attribute beast warrior type monster with 2500 attack and 1500 defense. If there is a face-up Sora or Riku on your side of the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Once per turn, you can place 1 heart counter on a card your opponent controls. When this card is sent to the graveyard, target 1 level 4 or higher warrior type monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. His secondary effect at the bottom when he's sent from the field to the graveyard is reminiscent of Light Pulsar Dragon, And I'm familiar with Chaos Dragons, which is why I made his effect like that. He combos with Donald, he can get out Sora again, and when Sora comes out, you can get Goofy, because Donald will most likely be on the field. So yeah. And unfortunately, though, the way that I worded it is when this card, so that means that if he's tributed, his effect doesn't activate, because cards that have when in their statement miss timing if they're tributed or sent as a cost. Cards that have if, though, do not. So that's him. So you run 2 of him. And, of course, I have to, because I've already got Sora and Riku, 2 copies of Kairi, who is a light attribute level 1 fairy-type monster. Fairy only because she's not really a warrior, and that's really all that's the closest I could get. Because her effect is very similar to Effect Valor, which is... Effect Valor is a spellcaster, but Kairi isn't a spellcaster either, so meh. During your opponent's main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to target one face-up effect monster your opponent controls. Negate that target's effect until the end phase. It is Effect Valor. The only difference, though, is this card cannot be destroyed by battle. So it's also a Marshmallow, which is fairly broken, but it's... Usually you keep it in your hand as an Effect Valor. That's pretty much what it's for. You can set it for stall, but yeah. Because eventually this card is going to run out of steam. And you kind of need the extra stall. So, yeah, that works. And next up is, of course, one of the big beater monsters. I chose, instead of any of the other original Keyblade wielders, or the second generation Keyblade wielders, I decided to go for Master Aqua out of all of them, because Aqua's probably my favorite character in the Kingdom Hearts series. I know that's kind of weird, but she is, and I like Aqua because she's pretty awesome. Even though she's kind of like the overbearing parent type, but there's enough redeeming qualities for me that I like her. In any case, she is a level 7 light attribute warrior type monster. This card cannot be with 2800 attack and 2800 defense. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card must first be special summoned by the effect of Lessons from Master Aqua. Up to twice per turn, you can remove 1 heart counter from either side of the field to target 1 card on the field and destroy that target. When this effect resolves, place 1 heart counter on a card you control. Now, her effect may seem broken at first. Basically, she destroys a monster, or you can use her effect twice per turn. Usually you just remove 1 from the field spell, destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field, place another one on the field spell, remove that same counter, and then destroy another one. It can only be used up to twice per turn, which is about the same amount as Inzectors get off with their effect with Hornet. Usually. Later in the game they can do it about 3 or 4 times, but at the beginning of the game it's usually only twice. So it's about as powerful as Insectors, which is fairly powerful, but there's only 1 copy of her because I don't want to be stupid powerful. So yeah. The next card is... Hold on a second. There it goes. Next, 1 copy Master Aqua, as I said. And the next card is... This is spoilers for Birth by Sleep, so I'll have a little annotation down there if you don't want to see this, because this next card is called Vanitas Sentiment, and it shows Vanitas' face. So if you don't want spoilers for what Vanitas looks like, then click the annotation, it'll skip you ahead past it, hopefully. So, yeah, I apologize if you see this, but I'm warning you right now, this is spoilers for it. So it'll show Vanitas' face. If you want to see it and you don't care, then feel free. Well, here it is, Vanitas' Sentiment. This is the second big, pretty much, I believe this to be the most powerful card in the entire deck. More so than the biggest monster in the deck, attack-wise. Because of its effect. Its effect... Okay, first off, it's a level 8 dark warrior-type monster. The reason that I made it this powerful before we go on is because Vanitas' Sentiment is believed to be the hardest boss in the entire Kingdom Hearts series. more so than the hooded Organization 13 cloaked guy in Birth by Sleep Final Mix, because Vanitas' Sentiment requires you to have your skills laid out in a certain way to defeat it. So yeah. Its attack is 4,000, defense 2,700. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned, meaning he can't be Monster Reborn after this effect activates. Can only be special summoned by banishing one Master Aqua from your side of the field or graveyard. The special summon of this card cannot be negated. Your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards in response to the summoning of this monster, meaning his effect is a speed spell 4. There's only a handful of cards that do that. And his final effect is a trigger. I believe it's trigger? No, it's ignition. You can special summon one warrior type monster from your hand or graveyard by removing one heart counter on your side of the field. That is not a once per turn. He is essentially the broken ass crap beat down swarmer of the deck. It's not a once per turn effect. He's meant to be that broken. The only thing is that once you can remove the heart counter and effect veil him, and yeah, he's just a 4,000 beater, and just a 4,000 beater sounds really bad, but the point of the KH deck challenge is for it to be tough, and Vanitas' Sentiment is freaking tough if he gets out. So yeah. But he can be Darkhold, he can be, Mirror Forced, whatever. And the final beater of the big monster of the entire deck. Now that we've finished Vanitas' Sentiment, and you people who click the annotation are here again, we are coming up on the final beater of the deck. This is Sora, Overlimit. This actually doesn't exist in the Kingdom Hearts universe, but man, it's my deck. I made it. Shut up. Sora Overlimit is a level 8 light warrior type monster with 5,000 attack and 5,000 defense. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned, except by banishing one Sora Valor, Sora Wisdom, Sora Master, Sora Limit, and Sora Final each from your extra deck. If there are monsters on your side of the field other than this card, destroy this card. This card cannot be destroyed by battle or be targeted by effects. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, special summon one Sora, Donald, and Goofy from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Another broken ass piece of card. It's meant to be broken. Basically, if this card actually existed in Yu-Gi-Oh, it would probably be limited. It's very much reminiscent of the Malefic cards with its effect by banishing cards from your extra deck. So yeah, it's meant to be broken, it's meant to be stupid, and that's why it's called the challenge. Anyway, now that we've gotten, I believe that's 21 monsters. I threw in Sora Overlimit at the last second because I liked the idea behind it. So, yeah. Anyway, now we move on to the spells, because why not? Spells. The first one is 2 copies of Lessons. The first one, Vanitas' Sentiment and Sora Overlimit, is just 1 copy of each, because I don't want to be stupid. Anyway, 2 copies of Lessons from Master Aqua. Now you might be wondering, why am I running 2 instead of 1, because I only have 1 Master Aqua? Well, because Master Aqua's effect can only have her special summoned by Lessons from Master Aqua. Well, this card can recycle Master Aqua from your graveyard, and then special summon her, but it also acts as essentially a giant Trunade, which would get this card banned. Without a doubt, it would get it banned. The only thing is that it requires costs to activate, which is 3 heart counters, but that's still not broke. That's still not good enough. That's not hard enough to activate. So yeah, you can only activate. It's a spell card, obviously. Just a normal spell card. You can only activate this card by removing 3 heart counters from either side of the field. Reveal any set, spell, or trap cards on the field, then return all spell and trap cards on the field to their owner's hand, except that card, of course. If any trap cards were removed due to this effect, you can add 1 Master Aqua from your graveyard to your hand. Then, if any spell cards were removed from the field due to this effect, special summon from your hand or deck 1 Master Aqua. Usually what happens is the effect that has remove trap or spell card, you set your own, so you can get the effects off. And then you activate Lesson from Master Aqua, you do the whole thing, you get out Master Aqua. That's pretty much the idea behind it. 2 copies of it because it's broken and it's a giant Trunade. That's why. The next one, we're just running pretty much a couple of staples for normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, because I didn't want to make more spells that would just have the same effect as other cards. 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Heavy Storm, 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, and that's it for the staples from normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, yeah, I didn't feel like making cards that had the same effect as those. And next we have 2 copies of the field spell, Kingdom Hearts. Oh, field spell named Kingdom Hearts. Who saw that come? Obviously, field spell card effect is each time a spell card is activated, place 1 heart counter on this card. When a card with a heart counter is destroyed, place its heart counters on this card. Once per turn, you can remove 3 heart counters to add 1 spell card from your graveyard to your hand. If this card would be destroyed, you can remove 1 heart counter from this card instead. It's Citadel of Endymion, but with a better effect, because it adds spell cards from your hand. Most cards in this deck, the only reason I didn't put the effect from Citadel of Endymion was that the only reason I didn't add the effect where you can, once per turn, you can use the heart counters on this card for the effect of another card is basically because most cards in this deck already say remove a heart counter from a card you control or from the field. So I don't need to have the Kingdom Hearts field spell have that effect where once per turn you can use this card. Because all the monsters use heart counters from anywhere. They don't require heart counters to be on them. So yeah. 2 copies of that because it's Kingdom Hearts. And the next card is the more or less draw power next to the next card after this. It is Shuffle. It's a quick play spell card. You can only activate this card if you have 3 or less cards in your hand. Obviously, this is a reference to Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Both players then shuffle the cards in their hand into their deck, then draw 5 cards. That'd get banned too, I think. Because, at least banned, if not banned, it'd be limited. But there's 3 copies of this for draw power. Yeah. And the next card is Mega Potion! This isn't necessarily Kingdom Hearts, more so Final Fantasy / Square Enix or any other JRPG, but meh. It's the Kingdom Hearts Mega Potion picture, though. So, you cannot enter your battle phase the turn this card is activated. Return up to 3 monsters in your graveyard to your deck and shuffle it. Then activate one of the following effects. Draw 1 card, or place 1 heart counter on every card on your side of the field. 2 copies of this. This is actually, I think, a worse effect than Pot of Avarice. So this card might actually stay at 2. It doesn't require as many monsters in your graveyard, but it doesn't have as much draw power because it only draws 1 card. So it's only a +1, or it's only a +0. Come out neutral with it. So it's alright. That's why I only have 2. Shuffle is the main card that does it. Yeah. Anyway, the next spell card is Drive. It's a quick play spell card as well. And this card is send fusion material monsters that are listed on a fusion monster card from your hand, your side of the field, or your graveyard, which makes this broken as well, because it's a miracle fusion as well. To your deck, though. It goes back to the deck. And special summon that fusion monster from your extra deck. This card can only be used to fusion summon Sora Valor, Sora Wisdom, Sora Master, and Sora Limit. Yeah, that's... Because it can be from your graveyard, that's why it's broken. Because The only thing though is that when you fusion summon a monster in this deck, they don't go to the graveyard, they go back to the deck, because it's contact fusion. Because that's how drive forms work in the game. In any case, now we move on to the one trap card in the entire deck, and this is really the only trap card you need, because it is Reflega. For those of you who don't know, that's the level 3 reflect spell. Duh. Discard one card. It's a counter trap card, by the way. So it's a speed spell of 3. Discard one card, and then choose one of the following effects. Negate the activation of a spell card or trap card your opponent controls. It essentially destroys it, but yeah. Or you can choose to activate when one of your opponent's monsters declares an attack. Negate that monster's attack and destroy it. Your opponent then takes the damage you would have received, which is basically the normal Reflega ability in Kingdom Hearts series. So it serves as both a Dark Bribe without the bribe, and a Mirror Force without the entire field going. So yeah, it's kind of toned down versions of both put together. And that's what makes it broken. In any case, we go on to the extra deck, which is basically where all the power from this deck really comes from. First one is 3 copies of Sora Final Form, which is the combination of Sora and Roxas, which is why Roxas's effect says that you can use him as the non-tuner material monster. Now notice also it says +1 non-tuner monster, meaning you have to only use one, not one or more. Which isn't all that easy or hard for this deck because Sora is a level 4 tuner, and all the normal summon monster cards in this deck, except for Kairi, are also level 4. So, yeah. Anyway, when this monster is successful, it's a level 8 light warrior synchro monster with 3000 attack and 2500 defense. When this monster successfully synchro summoned, banish one Sora from your graveyard. This card gains 500 attack and defense for every heart counter on the field. Yeah. That's pretty good. Meant to be tough. You can get this out first turn easy, because Sora comes out, you summon Sora, you special summon Donald or Goofy, synchro summon, they go to the grave, Sora Final comes out, then you can activate Drive, send Sora and Donald or Goofy back to the deck, special summon like Sora Valor or Sora Wisdom, depending on what you want. Yeah, that's broken, but it's meant to be broken. It's meant to be about as broken as 6 Samurai. 6 Samurai are broken, so can't believe they're not considered meta. I don't know how they're not considered meta, but whatever. The next card on the in the extra deck is Sora Valor. It's a level 8 light warrior type fusion monster with 2500 attack and 0 defense, basically symbolizing the fact that Sora Valor Valor form is a manifestation of all your physical fighting abilities. And you use Sora plus Goofy, Sora and Goofy, to fusion summon it. This card can only be special summoned from your extra deck by returning the above card you control to the deck. You do not use polymerization. It's contact fusion, like I said. That's how the games actually work. This card can attack twice during the battle phase. 2 Keyblades, pretty self-explanatory. And during the second standby phase, after this card's fusion summon, return it to the extra deck and special summon 1 Sora and 1 Goofy from your deck. Also kind of bringing out the idea that, you know, after Sora splits out of his drive form, the party member comes back. It keeps field presence. The only way that this doesn't happen is if it's destroyed, because it has to be on the field for this effect to resolve. So after 2 turns, you only get to keep it for 2 turns, but after that it goes back, goes away. Then you can, but the only thing is though is that you can do it again. You can just contact fusion again. So yeah, the only thing though is that once they're special summoned, your opponent may have had the time to bring out a Solemn Warning or a Judgment or a Torrential Tribute by that time. So that's why it can backfire. That's the only thing though. Usually it'll probably be destroyed before that happens, because cards that stay... If a card sticks around for more than 2 turns on the field, then that just means that your opponent is stalling and is top deck. So yeah. The next card in the fusion deck, or the extra deck, is Sora Wisdom. I apologize for how long this video is, but I'm trying to explain all the effects. You guys saw that? Yeah, whatever. Sora Wisdom form, it is a light attribute, level 8 warrior type fusion monster with 900 attack and 2500 defense, because Sora Wisdom isn't meant to be physically strong. Its effect is what makes it powerful, for the most part. This card can only be special summoned from your extra deck by returning the above cards you control the deck, Sora and Donald. You do not use polymerization. This card gains 300 defense for every spell card in your graveyard. During the second standby phase after this card's fusion summon, return it to the extra deck and special summon 1 Sora and 1 Donald from your deck. Same thing. And then the next card in the extra deck is Sora Master Form, or Sora Master. He is a level 8 light attribute warrior type fusion monster with 3000 attack and 3000 defense, symbolizing the idea that Sora Master Form is a combination of both Valor and Wisdom, because it requires Sora plus Goofy plus Donald to be summoned, or it can be Sora plus King Mickey, because Master Form is meant to be a combination of Sora and Mickey in the games, but they use Donald and Goofy to fuse because you don't have Mickey around with you in the party in Kingdom Hearts 2. So yeah. But anyway, this card can only be fusion summoned by the effect of Drive, so you cannot contact fusion. You have to use the effect of Drive. This card can attack twice during the battle phase, just like Valor, and this card gains 300 attack and defense for every spell card in your graveyard, a better version of Wisdom's ability. And during the third standby phase after this card's fusion summon, return it to the extra deck and special summon the monsters listed as fusion material for this card, used as fusion material for this card's fusion summon from your deck. So whatever monsters you use to fusion summon, you bring them out after this returns to the extra deck. And the next one, second to last one, is Sora Limit Form, which is only available in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. So a few of you might not know about this one. Sora Limit Form is a combination of Sora and Kairi. The clothes are designed to look like Sora's clothes from Kingdom Hearts. That's the idea. So he's kind of uniting with his memories, I suppose it is. In any case, the thing is it's a level 8 light attribute warrior type fusion monster with 2000 attack and 2000 defense, but this is supposedly considered to be the most powerful one. It is Sora plus any 2 monsters, but it can only be special summoned by the effect of Drive. This card gains 300 attack and defense for every monster in your graveyard, instead of spell and trap or spell cards, because every monster in the graveyard is going to be a Kingdom Hearts character, and it's meant to be a combination of his memories, so he gets stronger from his memory. Once per turn, you can banish 1 monster from your graveyard, except it gains 300 attack defense for every monster in your graveyard, except fusion and synchro monsters. So it doesn't count the drive forms or final. Once per turn, you can banish 1 monster in your graveyard, except a fusion or synchro monster. You can't use those. To double this monster's original attack until the end phase. During the third standby phase after this monster's fusion summon, return it to the extra deck and special summon 1 Sora from your deck. You do not get the 2 monsters that were used to summon it. You get only Sora. And the last one, which I actually think is a little clever on my part, that I was able to incorporate this in the same manner that it works in the games, is Sora Anti-Form. Anti-Form is basically the remnants of Sora's experience of turning into a Heartless. It's the manifestation of all his darkness, and it comes out when when it comes out, it's a random number generator in Kingdom Hearts 2. Whenever you use a drive form, it rolls a random number, and if it gets below the target, it summons anti-form, or brings out anti-form, the drive form you're originally going for. This random number, or this percentage, increases every time you don't become anti-form. Once you do become anti-form in-game, it resets. If you decide to go into final form, Sora's final form, then it also lowers the percentage for anti-form to appear for all the other drive form. So you can't possibly get it if you keep going into final form, but anti-form has a chance of appearing with every other drive form. And that chance increases every time you go into a drive form in-game. So that's kind of what this monster is about. That's what its effect does. It's a level 8 Dark Fiend type fusion monster with 4,500 attack points and 0 defense points, because anti-form is meant to be really powerful, but it just has no defense. In fact, it's probably considered the weakest. It's considered, actually I think it's considered the second strongest. If not for its poor defense skills, it would be the strongest. In any case, its effect is each time you fusion summon, basically anytime you fusion summon with this deck, and this is in your extra deck, roll a 6-sided die. If the result is a 1, special summon this card from your extra deck instead of the original fusion summon you were going to do. Place one heart counter on this card in your extra deck every time this effect does not resolve. So basically every time he isn't summoned, you place a heart counter on him in your extra deck. And from then on, subtract your die roll by the amount of heart counters on this card. So if you're constantly rolling 6s, eventually the amount of heart counters is going to keep minusing your roll, the amount you have, until you hit 1. And eventually Sora Anti-Form will come out. That's how the game works too. When this card or Sora Final is summoned, remove all heart counters from this card it. Basically, if you synchro summon Sora Final or this card comes out, you remove all the heart counters from it. This also counts for the second copy of the Sora Anti-Form in here, because summoning Sora Anti-Form is, yeah. There are 2 copies of him just in case he gets destroyed. That's pretty much the idea. After this card attacks, change it to face-up defense position. That's its downside. And then during the 5th standby phase after this card's special summon, return to the extra deck. So if you don't want it to be destroyed right away and you lose field presence, you don't attack, and basically you're standing there for 5 turns with this guy on the field. Eventually he will get destroyed though. His effect, however, keeps it from your opponent just attacking him and suiciding, and then changing him to defense position. His effect only activates if he attacks, rather than your opponent attacking him, or battles, whatever. But yeah, that's the entire deck. I like it. I actually think I made a Kingdom Hearts deck a long time ago, and it revolved around heart counters as well, but it wasn't really good. It was just like really stupid. It wasn't even broken. It was just stupid. This one though, I like, and I'm happy with it, and I can't wait to play my friends with it just for fun. It's meant to be slightly broken. It's meant to be really powerful, but it's not meant to be super broken, so that there's no way you can win against it. It's just meant to be really powerful because it's supposed to be a challenge. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Feel free to make your own decks. The service for Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Maker is completely free. It's really easy to use, and if you if you make an account on it, which is also free, you can actually save your cards in sets. This set for the Kingdom Hearts deck is called Dive to the Heart, which is why it says DVHT, which is Dive to the Heart, whatever. So yeah, I may be expanding on this deck later, making new cards for it to change the strategy around, because what I want to do eventually is make equip spells for it so that the deck can have Keyblade equipped spells, and it can benefit from having Keyblade equipped spells activated. Kingdom Hearts already this field spell already does that because every time a spell card is activated, it gets a heart counter. But I want the monsters to also have. I want there to be monsters that can benefit from having Keyblade equips, other than just the effective Keyblade equip. So yeah, I like it. I hope you guys liked it. It was fun. It was a long video, but meh. It was fun. So yeah, I'll see you guys later next time whenever I do another Yu-Gi-Oh video, because I like Yu-Gi-Oh and I hope you guys like it too. So yeah, see you guys then in the next video. Whatever. Bye.